Salut mon Louis, bonjour.
Salut, comment ça va? J'étais au bureau, tu n'étais pas là, toi?
Et
Non,
comment,
non.
46 ans?
On se demandait, Louis, on a une question de groupe.
Oui,
Est-ce que tu peux partager avec nous
oui.
Qu'est-ce que tu manges?
comment est-ce qu'on peut se garder en bonne shape autant que toi?
Ah, ça, c'est un secret que je vais vous dire en privé quand je vais venir au bureau.
OK, that's good deal. Est-ce que c'est les épices haïtiennes? Est-ce que c'est les épices haïtiennes? Ou...
Les épices haïtiennes, les petites demoiselles haïtiennes aussi.
Ah!
Ça va, mes amis?
Ça va très bien, Louis. On te voit tout le monde. On t'a mis sur l'écran. Un grand allô de tout le monde.
Un grand allô à tous mes amis. J'ai bien hâte de vous voir bientôt.
Nous autres aussi, mon cher.
C'est bon.
Excellent. On va débuter. Ça ne sera pas long, dans 2-3 minutes.
Prenez votre temps.
Merci, Louis. On a aussi Jean-Pierre qui est là, Mahin, Oleg. Soyez pas gênés, messieurs. Le monde qui est en ligne, vous pouvez allumer vos caméras.
Oui, je suis dans un Zoom maintenant pour 1 heure de temps. Pouvez-vous me rappeler dans 1 heure? S'il vous plaît. D'accord, j'apprécierai. Merci, merci.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 1 o'clock. I think we're going to wait maybe 2 more minutes and then we'll get going. Won't be very long. Again, for everybody who's online, feel free to turn on your cameras. Maybe leave yourselves on mute, but feel free to turn on your cameras.
Definitely leave yourselves on mute.
And definitely leave yourselves on mute. But it won't be very long. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. Okay, guys? Everybody online? Not everybody together? Can you all hear me? Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful.
Little German, Jim. Let's start a minute ago. No, then we should have started the German style. We should have.
C'est ça, là, je t'ai pas raté.
Breaker.
Breaker, we got a 2-1-2er.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Welcome, welcome. Elias in the house. Everybody can see clearly here in the room. Yes, and everybody online can see us sharing the screen.
Clearly.
Very nice. Rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. In case you can't get on this link for whatever reason, it's also being streamed live on Facebook on our in-house channel. Okay. All right. Enjoy, guys. Thank you, Elias.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Good job, Jim.
You killed it, bro. Bro.
It's always a pleasure.
All right. So how are we all doing today?
Great.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Tells you something about the group. No one's honest. It's like 40 degrees outside. Come on. Come on. We're doing
Everyone's hot
doing
today.
awful.
I was dying yesterday.
Okay, finally someone's on.
All right, guys. So I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, a good friend of mine, and he said that this presentation was all good and dandy, but maybe we need to take it just one step back because not everybody has the analyzer at home. So maybe we need to work on the theory behind it before we jump to the next step. You guys comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So everybody's gonna need paper. And we're just gonna do a quick little recap of last week. All right. So does anyone, other than Adrian, remember the equation for the basic equation for a building evaluation?
NOI divided by price.
NOI divided by price equals cap rate, right? But so yeah, that's the net operating income divided by the price equals cap rate.
That only applies if you're looking for a cap rate.
Sure, but these are all parts of the equation that are you know, if you want to figure out the price, well, you inverse the equation, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I haven't been to algebra in a long time, so am I wrong by saying price equals cap rate divided by NOI?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay, see, guys, I failed high school, so you don't have to yell at me.
No.
Don't scream at me.
It's NOI divided by cap.
That's what I said. That's not what I said.
That's what he said.
You said cap rate divided by NOI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. So, does anyone remember what the NOI is?
The effective
Not
potential growth.
Adrian, not Adrian. Let everybody else go.
Net operating income.
Net operating income, that's what it stands for. But what does that really mean?
After all the expenses, whatever is left over,
From the
from the
gross,
gross.
correct, and notwithstanding the mortgage.
No.
Okay, the mortgage has nothing to do with the equation in this model right now.
Okay, so it's PGI minus
PGI,
potential gross income minus vacancy and bad.
no,
debt.
actual gross
And
income.
then you take the effective gross income minus
So
expense.
let me do it again, guys. It's gross income minus gross expenses. I would say gross standardized expenses, because if the building doesn't have management, if the building doesn't have, if they don't do any maintenance, there are still metrics, as we discussed last week, that we have to input. So gross expense equals NOI. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a quick, so this is clear. I'm gonna take a quick property that I was just evaluating, I think before today's class. Where are you from? Yeah, that's what I Please. So, this building has 14 units.
To here.
All right, we have a gross revenue of what,
I think
125?
it's not here. Non, je ne veux pas le mettre actif. Parce qu'il faut le put active.
Juju.
T'es pas sur mute.
right, give me 1 minute, sorry guys, I don't know how to do this.
They're not talking, so that's what it is.
Can't you mute everybody one shot?
I mean, maybe, how?
Arrow.
Click on that arrow.
Arrow. With this arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, until you find George or somebody that's not muted.
No,
should-
he's muted.
All right,
Okay.
okay. Okay. All right, go. So, so we have, let's say building, let's just call it building 1, 2, 3. All right, we got a gross revenue of 125. Let's say municipal tax. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the example and you'll help me by screaming out the, I want you to scream out, okay? Scream like shred your lungs. No, I just want you to tell me the operational expense followed by the actual amount that's on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Okay, so we got municipal tax,
C'est 13 142.
13 142.
Taxe scolaire. 1420.
Combien?
1420.
1420.
L'électricité énergie. 740.
40.
Assurance. 8526.
500. 26.
Superintendent.
Okay, so I'm gonna restart the superintendent. Because just to remind you guys, a lot of buildings don't have a concierge, or the owner is gonna go clean the hallways. Or they don't clean the hallways, and they, once a year they do a big cleanup. Regardless of what amount they're actually paying, we need to standardize these 3 metrics, okay? Actually, this one as well. So the superintendent is $330 per door. And how many doors does this have?
14.
14, my man. Okay, so that gives us. No, what is it?
4,620.
4,620. That's concierge. Yeah. So maintenance, now what is maintenance? What is maintenance and what is capital expenditure? You guys were here last week. Capital expenditure is things that are amortized over many, many years. So when you do the roof, okay, when you fix your roof and you spend $100,000 on the roof, your building doesn't automatically become $100,000 more expensive. Am I right? Why is that? Because the fucking building's supposed to have a roof. Okay, you don't get extra just because you met the minimum requirements. Okay, building's supposed to have windows, supposed to have doors, they're supposed to work properly. Okay, it's supposed to have, a bathroom that is functional. So
But this is when all the windows are being replaced, or just, let's say, one it's broken or something like that?
that is a great question. That is a great question. I would say almost anything related to, I mean, I guess if you're gonna do a small repair on a window, that's considered maintenance. But when you have to change all the windows, that's considered a capital expenditure. Okay, so
Maintenance.
maintenance, yeah. Maintenance is, we got to fix the sink, it's dripping. We need to paint an apartment in between a tenant.
Hot water tank.
Yeah, I think maybe repairing a hot water tank, but if you're changing all the hot water tanks, I think it's considered CapEx.
So maintenance
So-
is things that you need to maintain.
Needs, you know what?
Oh, wow.
Hey, Adrian's on the board, guys, we got a joker in the
Thank God
house.
you're here.
But yeah, I would have made that joke. Yeah, so yeah, $7,700 in maintenance. So we got administration 5%, that's based on the gross rent, that's 6,000.
Administration, you're gonna be with concierge, sure, that's something.
Well, let me ask you something, does the concierge take you to the Régie de Logement if you haven't paid your rent?
Something like that.
No, I mean, they might give that responsibility to the concierge, But a concierge's job is to, you know, clean, you know. So that is his yearly salary for the act of maintaining 14 units at a minimum rate. Yeah, but like when you're gonna go into an apartment and renovate it completely, that's considered, like I said, CapEx. So management will be, you know, collections, you know, who's in charge of collecting all the rent. Well, okay, sure, you can give your entire budget of management to your concierge and pay him $10,000 a year to collect. But at the same time, though, they're very different jobs, so we split them up differently. So management would be things like collecting, advertising the place in a proper way. Now, the thing that's interesting about this list.
Showing it maybe to people.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about this list is there's certain things they don't put into it, like the cost of renting. Like, for example, you know, I pay one agent to rent an apartment of $1,500. I'll pay her $1,500 to rent the apartment, for example. Well, I've never seen that equated here somehow. I think they're trying to just put the minimum amount that it would take to manage a building. The bigger the building is, the more these numbers scale better. But the smaller they are, I mean, look, if it's a triplex, I mean, you're not going to find anybody that's going to do it, you know, maintain a triplex for $1,200 a year. So
Is it maybe because it can't be averaged properly?
maybe that's why. At the end of the day, this is the numbers that banks use for them to evaluate and for them to give you a loan.
That's your metric.
And that's the most important thing, because if you don't have any money, you can't buy a building. If they give you not enough money, well, you got to come up with more money from your pocket.
Elias,
Yeah.
could you repeat superintendent, what is it?
Superintendent, c'est un concierge. C'est comme le gars, il travaille dans he's the guy that cleans up. Concierge.
The cleaner, that's a cleaner.
My toilet's blocked.
Your toilet's blocked. There you go.
Janitor, that's.
So janitor,
That's the one.
janitor, superintendent,
AKA.
concierge, passe-partout guy.
Yeah, he's superintendent.
Yes, sir.
C'est 5% de quoi?
5% de le brut revenu. Yeah. So that's 5% of the gross revenue. So 625 for management.
Holding expenses. Did you notice management?
Well, they manage, you know.
Yeah, they manage. Now, if your place has a fridge and stove included in the rent, you need to allocate $150 per unit per year for that expense, which actually is probably one of the most reasonable numbers out of here, because if you have 14 brand new fridges and stoves, I mean, the chances are that you're gonna have, what, you know, 2 of them break throughout, you know, per year, or 2 of them need special maintenance.
Probably still in the warranty.
Might be under warranty, yeah. But nonetheless, if you have them, this is part of the equation that you always need to account for.
Is that per month or per year?
Per year, per year. These, all these numbers are, are
The
yearly
income is 125K per year for 14 units?
for 14, yeah. So I think this is a real bill, yeah, so it's about $745 per unit. So, and this also takes into account vacancy.
This is rental income?
This is rental income.
Per
Yeah.
year, $700 per unit?
No, per month, it's $745 per month, times 14, times 12 is 125,000. Unless I'm way off, but
No, makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, let me just look at this equation.
745 times 12.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it seems low, because the rents are pretty low in Montreal, but the purpose of looking at this example is I'm gonna show you guys what's gonna happen with an increment, like a very, very small change. So what we'll do is we'll take, after this example, we'll create a budget for fixing up these units. We'll discuss what the projected new rents will be, and we'll see what it does to the building. All right,
Elias, I have a question.
Yeah,
I remember that in my commercial class,
Yeah.
I said, it says 4 types of OPEX that should never include: mortgage payment, capital expenses, depreciation cost.
Yeah.
Capital cost, and income tax. Is that okay?
yeah, none of those are in my calculation, so that's perfect. So yeah, like the amount of money you're gonna pay on income tax obviously has nothing to do with this building, because that variable also goes with your personal income. not in these cases, but it has not, yeah, exactly. There's also, what did you say the other one was? A mortgage. So if you have this with a mortgage or you have it without a mortgage, does it change the value of the building?
No.
No.
Right? Because it doesn't really matter how much you owe on it, it's what the building is worth in the eyes of the new buyer or the eyes of the bank. So here we have, let's just say, I'm gonna give it the amount after taxes, 120. So we removed a vacancy, so that's the amount of time that it's empty while we're changing a unit. That gives us 120.
895.
890, yeah,
Well, the subtotal or the total?
the subtotal. 2895, yeah. What is the subtotal of the expenses? So these are revenues. These are expenses. We can, yeah, no, I want to make you guys all do math without a calculator. Does anyone remember last week when we discussed what the what a healthy building should be in terms of expense to income ratio? 35%, very nice, very nice, very nice. Now, so not everybody was drunk last week, huh? 35%, roughly 35% of the expenses. If your building has a 35% expense rate and it is electrically heated, as in the tenants are paying, that should give you an idea of the health of the property. So as much as we think that these rents are low right now, in relation to their expenses, they are fair. Okay? They are fair. A unit, like, let's say if they're renting for $1,000 a piece, obviously our expenses wouldn't change, except for management. And that building would be worth significantly more based on that. So you can usually tell if a building is average by this number here.
And if it's too low, that means it.
If it's too low, that means something's off. It doesn't mean anything in particular, really. We're just talking about averages. So it could be new building goes slow. It also, when it's a smaller unit, the smaller they are like the closer they are to 6 units, the higher the chances are that these are going to be pretty low, because you have a 5-unit building. Well, you're going to have your municipal tax is not going to be that much. Your school tax is not going to be that much, and your insurance isn't going to be that. So those costs kind of just don't scale as well as they do with these bigger buildings.
What's the lowest you've seen?
Like 20% on
And it
a
was
5-plex.
Legit?
Yeah,
Legit.
yeah, it was legit, but like, as soon as you get into 10 units, these numbers are really, like, you can stand by them. So, subtotal 42. 4, 1, 5. So, the exercise I'd like to do today is I'd like to take this number and this number. Obviously, I'd like to subtract them, give us a NOI. Okay. And then let's say you have this building and your customer wants to say, okay, well, how much do you think it's worth? Without getting too complicated, without getting into coverage ratios and, the change in
The market.
the market, but more specifically the
Interest rate,
thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah, instead of brain fart there. Interest rate, more, without trying to go, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this NOI and we're gonna divide it by 4.5 cap, a 5 cap, and a 5 cap and a 5.5 cap. And those will give us roughly the average, right now in Montreal, a brand new building will be at, let's say, 4.5 cap. And I haven't seen them on my like when I was evaluating buildings, but by tomorrow, things are gonna start hitting 6 caps and selling. So I think we're gonna take just a 5-minute math break. Okay, everybody, take this number, subtract this number, get your NOI, and then come up with the 4 different cap rates that the building could possibly be. and we'll see how close to reality is to our number.
Yes.
42412.
42, sorry,
Yeah, the
4212.
total expenses.
Oh, 42,
42412.
Row 44.
422.
412.
44.
Okay, sorry, thank you. All right, guys, I'm gonna get a glass of water and I'll see you guys back in 2 minutes. I hear you talking.
Wow.
No, that's my. For a number, the wrong place. Well, that's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Oui, est-ce que vous pouvez me rappeler dans une heure? Ouais. Merci beaucoup. Bye-bye.
Whistling Willie. You guys, a couple more minutes? Yes, sir. Sure. 6 feet tall, single, like long walks on the beach and peeing in coladas, yes.
When you're basically shopping for property.
Yeah.
For all the information that you have online or when it's a off-market deal, you just go directly to the owner and ask for information, how much interest cost, maintenance, so on and so.
Sure. I mean, anytime you're ever gonna have to make an offer, you're gonna need to know that information.
Okay, and when it's an off-market deal, you do the same thing, there's no difference.
Well, I mean, yeah, how can you possibly, I mean, look, if this building, just to give you an idea, so I got a current value of 1.48 for fair market. That's the most I would pay for it. And the least I would pay for it, well, I mean, the economic value is gonna be 400, the amount that, sorry, CMHC is gonna, the loan you is 1.4 million. Okay, or 1.409. So between these two numbers, I'll make my offer. That's how I work.
Okay,
So,
just for the information about.
no, I got you. I'm just setting that up so I can give you an idea. If the insurance is 4,000, what does that do to the price? Okay. Let me not even go that crazy. Let's say I'm off by $500. That was 4,800. Sorry, 1,480 was the most. Okay, so $10,000 just changed the price. Over $500 a year. Those numbers got to be right, man. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't shit out $10,000 every day. I don't want to overpay for something. I don't want to underpay for something. I mean, I want a fair deal. So yeah, you got to know these numbers. Now you're asking from the perspective of an agent. I mean, if you want, you can make an offer and get it accepted and then go back and do your due diligence and see that your numbers are way off and make a counter offer and maybe screw up the whole deal. But I think you should just get all the information as you need it upfront and make your proper offer from the beginning. And you make a fair offer and don't waste time.
Could we have access to that spreadsheet?
Say that again, sir.
If we can have access to that spreadsheet.
Oh, the spreadsheet. I'm giving you the information so you don't even need a spreadsheet. Okay.
But if
The
you
math
want
that
to, if we want to use it to analyze it, to train ourselves on it.
Well, that's the reason that we are doing this math right now, so you can learn it without, like, we are constantly improving on this. This is my personal evaluation that I make. Now, if my numbers are wrong, I don't want to be responsible for somebody's offer. Now, the best way to go about getting this information clearly, perfectly, precisely, contact your mortgage broker. They will do this entire evaluation for you. They will give you the actual economic value. And that is a number from the bank. That is not Elias's number.
Can I ask you another question?
Absolutely.
As I can see, the down payment is listed as 5%. Can we on commercial go with 5% mortgage for the down payment?
Minimum down payment required. This is based off of based off of MLS Select. That's why I didn't go into coverage ratio. I didn't go to amortization. As you remember, I'm just trying to give you guys a basic concept. This analyzer is so advanced that there's a new product out there that gives you like up to 50 years amortization, down to 5% down payment. What are the other terms? 1.1 coverage ratio, all of these things that we discussed last week that, you know, would affect the price of the building.
It was very cool, thank you. But to put it bluntly, this instruction is made so that we can all do our.
So we can figure out our own math. So we can learn the concept. It's not about learning how to punch numbers into an analyzer and just filling in what's read. We like this exercise is so that we know how the math works behind a building. And so that at a very like I don't have this analyzer with me when I go and look at a property, when I go visit. But I can tell you that very quickly, by understanding the concepts, with 3, 4, 5 metrics that I can take just at a glance, I can come up with a rough price. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys.
But Elias,
Yes, sir.
for example, you say like, okay, I want to make a fair offer for this property.
Sure.
With within this numbers.
Sure.
But is it true that for some investors, they would say, okay, so I don't care, like if I pay a little bit more, but I want to get more cash flow, like in the pipe. I don't know, like they can have like a different perspectives.
Of course. Look, I'm just me, man.
The property, right?
I just evaluate it based on what's important to me. Now, what we're gonna do after we do this math, get this rough concept down, is we're gonna play with the numbers. We're gonna see how changing a certain metric will affect the overall property. So,
This is fun, man.
thank you, brother. You're sweet, man. You're a sweetheart. So, I'm pretty sure we all got 49,000 for net operating income because I'm pretty sure I left this on the screen. And I know you guys are a bunch of lying salespeople.
Thank you.
You said 49,000?
79,000. Did I say 49?
Yeah.
Well, you know, they shouldn't put a dyslexic guy in charge of numbers. So 79,000 net operating income. Divide that by 4.5 cap rate. What do we got, guys?
1.74.
My man. All right, 1.74. So if this building was newly constructed, brand new, and in a centralized area, I think a 4.5 cap rate would be fair for it. Now think about it. Like when I learned this concept, the farther you are from the central core, the farther you're going to be away from, like the higher your cap rate is going to be. So if you want to go get a 10-plex in well, Blainville's getting up. Blainville's going up there, dude. But yeah. N'importe quoi, Shawinigan, you know, you can maybe expect a 6.5 cap rate in very shortly. you know?
Are you saying that 4.5 is actually associated to brand new buildings?
The lower the number,
Yeah.
the better the quality of the building. So it can either be a newer building or it can be more central.
Well, that's when negotiating sort of with yourself the cap rate, because you can have very old buildings at a 4.5% cap rate
If you're,
that are just badly priced.
yes, we're talking about if if their economic value is fair.
That's how you
Yes.
justify it to yourself.
Yep.
It's 4.5% because it's new.
Yes,
Or it's in coordination with you.
or it's in Cotonation DG. So it's in a hot happening spot, place that's gonna have very little turnover.
It's
Maybe.
on your strategy, because every investor has his own strategy.
That's based on my strategy,
It's
correct?
on your strategy.
Correct.
Higher quality or newer, hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, the further away it is from the central core, the higher the cap rate will be. The older it is, the higher the cap rate will be. Okay, that's just, these are all rules of thumb and these are my opinions. Let me preface everything with that. So you said 1.7 thousand. So if it was a downtown building and it was just newly constructed, but it was only bringing in this rent, you can see that we would get a you said 1.744. That would be the price of the building. That would be a fair price, in my opinion, and probably in the opinion of the bank.
Well, the bank doesn't do, they do that as well.
Well, guys, this is what, this is what the bank is gonna look at. Like, they don't know a building from a hole in the wall. They know revenues and expenses, and they know the area. And they know they know the interest rate. They know that if it's this type of product, it has this kind of coverage ratio and it has this type of amortization. That's all they know. I mean, there's no reason that any of these mortgage brokers can know what the actual value of the building is unless we've given them all this information. Now, remember, if you want to pay 2 million for this building, okay, the bank is not going to add more money. They're not going to give you more money to buy it. They're going to say, this is what the building is worth. This is what your loan is going to be. And if you want to pay $10 million for it, go ahead. But you're going to have to cover the difference between the amount of money we're going to loan you and the amount of money you're going to pay. So next we had a 4.5. So what was it at a 5% cap? 1.56. Okay, everybody's getting comfortable with this. Like tomorrow, if I say we got revenues of this, we got expenses of this, we got an NOI of this, and I want you to do a 5 cap, you can come up with the price like this. Okay. Right on. Right on. So you can already see the numbers at 5.5. If you looked at buildings like 8 months ago, people were willing to pay like a 3.5 cap on some properties. Like, it was crazy because the interest rates were being held down. What's it called when it's done without not without reason, but anyways, they were being forced down against the market's will. So yeah, prices started soaring because of that reason.
What's gonna happen now with all those transactions?
I made offers on a building 3 weeks ago. I've already reduced my price twice and had it accepted twice. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Well, look, man, if just quick, I'll use my example here. Please, let's not get into too many questions about like how, like, I'm just gonna give you an example of what's gonna happen if I go from 5.7 to, let's say, 4.7 to 5.25. I did? There you go. So I got a new analyzer. Yeah. So just with the jump in, so let's say interest rates were what were they at? They went up by a point last week, right? Okay, so they went up from, let's say, 3.7. So sorry, it's not 370. 3.7. Well, if we give Trudeau a little more time, I'm sure he'll get us up there. All right. So interest rates, when we made the offer, were at 3.7. Now they're at, okay, what was the price? 1.74?
Yeah, 1.74.
I mean, it dropped it by what, 200 grand?
Yeah.
Hey, okay. So yeah, I don't care if the agent doesn't like me. I don't care if the buyer doesn't like me. I don't care what they have to say. I just lost $200,000 because the Bank of Canada has raised their overnight rates. So that's going to change the price of the building. And if they don't want to sell anymore, I'm still not going to buy, because guys, I'm not going to buy a building that's overpriced by 200. Guys, that's like 3 years of salary.
But
No,
we're
the
already-
license, but some people would, some people might, some people might.
Sure,
But no.
but I don't know who would want to, who would want to spend, who would want to buy
One
something
guy, one
overpriced?
prestige.
But you have
Sure.
already promised to purchase, you have already reached out.
I understand,
How
but
you
the,
gonna get out?
how do I get out? Well,
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
interest,
hold you.
they're gonna hold me? Hold me. I don't know. I'm not worried about that. My partner's fatty. I don't know. I don't mean to be that cocky, but yeah, I mean, there are certain conditions. Aren't interest rates part of that? I mean, if
Yes,
interest rates go up
yes, some
overnight,
places, if you put it like, but you have to, when you put it, you have to be smart enough to put it like, I'm not gonna go max more than 5%.
I see.
Or 5.25%. If you put this, you can
Sure.
easily get out.
Sure. And I know there's a couple other clauses like due diligence and, a viewing of the property usually. That you can, you guys know your rules much more than I do. I know you guys know a lot more. You guys know a lot more than me. Who's got their commercial license again? Very nice, very nice. You guys should all be getting it, by the way. It's easy money. It's not an emotional decision with the customer. It becomes, you just have to do this kind of work more often. And once you make your own analyzer, or once you have a good mortgage broker, you can make offers all the time. So I just wanted to do something really quickly, which is, am I boring this?
Not at all.
All right, times, so I think, let's say they're mostly 4.5, let's say we can rent them for $1,000 each, yeah? Times 12, times 14, okay, $168,000. But remember, nothing comes from nothing. So if I'm gonna look at this building and I wanna buy it, well, I need to come up with a rough price for construction. So let's say to get it to $1,000 from 750, I need to invest 15,000 per unit. Okay. No, $210,000. So it would take me from a price of $1.5 million. Let's say that's the most I would have paid for it. But now I got to put it, yeah, 1,700,000. Yeah. I got to add another 200,000 to my purchase price, right? Because where am I going to get this money? I got to borrow it from somewhere. So the question I want to ask you is, if I'm going to invest $200,000 into this building, you think it's going to make sense or not? And the next question would be, at what point of renovations would it no longer make sense? Now, you guys don't have to give me the number, but I want you to give me the idea behind it. How would we figure out if this is a reasonable strategy or not?
We have to punch in the numbers. We punch in the numbers, changing the fact that the rents are gonna be more expensive and our expenses are gonna be higher.
My man, our expenses are gonna be slightly higher, correct? So let's just put quickly here, 1.490, 300, okay? And here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna subtract this number by this, which should give us 0, but what it will do afterwards, it will give us how much additional value this building will take. All right.
Mhm.
Does anyone want to go with a rough guess? I mean, I've given you the math quickly. Go ahead and come up with the how much the change in value will be. Let's see if you can get there before I do. Any guesses?
NOI?
Yeah, well, how much? No, what's the gross rep? Well, we all know what the NOI is going to be. It's going to be an additional 50, what, like $18,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean in terms of price? It's very easy. You can just do, let's just say it's 5% cap. So a very easy way to do it, guys, is just to say $18,000 divided by 5%. That's going to give you the additional value. We have 2.227. That's at the sorry, I used the 5.3 cap. So yeah, it's probably closer to what you just said. But let's use the numbers I have in front of me because they're in front of me. A $200,000 and $210,000 investment on this property will give you a $737,000 increase in price if you get the rents to where they need to be.
How do you summarize that calculation?
I would,
Also, say that again. please.
yeah, no problem. So I would do the change in price, change in gross revenue, because more or less your expenses stay the same. So if you want to just calculate it quickly in your pocket, that difference in price divided by, let's say, a 5% cap rate. A good way to do it is, my old number was about $25 per door. Does that make sense? If I do 25 times 18,000?
When you invested 210 Gs and you increased the rents by 48,000 a year.
By 18,000 a year. And that gave me $737,000 in additional value.
Great.
Yeah.
How about if you can't get rid of the tenant?
Well, how are you gonna renovate? How are you gonna do a $15,000 renovation in an apartment
Well, the
where
tenant
there's
is
a
there.
person there? You have to have changeover, or you have to come up with an agreement. I mean, many times, we can say, look, especially if you've renovated one already, you can say, look, ma'am, you're paying $650. You can pay, $850 and you can have this brand new apartment and we'll just move you downstairs right now. You know what? We'll even help you move. So, I mean, there's many, huh? Part of your cost. I mean, look, we got our concierge that's there. At the end of the day, guys, we're making cash hand over fist when we go back to the bank.
Yeah.
Service.
Giovanni, if you want.
Call Giovanni.
But it might also bring the maintenance spending down because you're.
Bravo. Bravo. Now, the thing is that really, when you go to the bank, you're not going to give them your real numbers in maintenance. You're just going to give them the number that they use. But on a administrative perspective, my God, it changes everything. I have a building on Henry Bourassa, 70 Henry Bourassa, 36 units. I think I've spoken about it a few times. Miss Marie Michelle is actually doing all the rentals there. She's done 19 units already in the last 2 years that she's rented. Now, we've raised those rents from like $500 a month to some of them as high as $800. Some of them as low as $650. Okay, they're studio apartments. But we also converted the electricity. So now the tenants pay the electricity instead of us. So it cost us $60,000 to reduce our expense by, I think we were paying 20 grand in gas.
Zero.
Yeah, but we almost 4 times the price to reduce $20,000, but it makes all the difference. I mean, we've just seen the numbers. So a very minimal, and $1,000 a month, I mean, is not that expensive for a 4.5 in Montreal. That's a fair price. Yeah, I don't know, this building is on Gouin. It currently has, I mean, it literally currently has rents of $750.
Yeah, Montreal North.
Yeah, Montreal North. Okay. But it doesn't really matter, guys. The prestige of the whole thing is nonsense. Like, we can still rent for $1,000 in Montreal North.
Yeah.
Is it Montreal North? Because it says Grand West.
It's either Montreal North or Cartierville. Gouin goes across.
Going west is probably, yeah, it's fine anyway.
I mean, look, if we go over one street, we're not gonna be, it's not like we're not gonna be able to rent a 4.5 for $1,000.
Oh, you'll be able to rent it for sure.
Yeah, so roughly, I think I'm gonna take a little pause right now, because I know we reviewed a lot from last week. We discussed more on the theory of it. So I'm gonna leave the rest of the class open for questions, and we're gonna do some example, like if you guys wanna say like, what happens if we spend 50 grand on it and we're only able to get another $10 per month? I don't know, we can do whatever you'd like. We have the analyzer open. We can punch in buildings if you'd like. We can, like, let's use these last 15 minutes to really like hammer home the concept. Yes, my man. Oui, allez-y.
Moi, j'ai une question, mais je me demande si, par exemple, pour des flips,
Oui.
mais pas des flips de multilogement, 12, 15 flips, des flips de maison. Toi, personnellement, en tant qu'investisseur, qu'est-ce que tu regarderais pour voir si cette maison-là, ça fait du sens?
C'est une tellement bonne question. J'ai gagné avec les flips et j'ai perdu avec les flips. Le problème avec les flips, c'est c'est à 100% dépendant dans le marché. Hey man, fuck the marché. We've already seen what's going on, man. Every 5 minutes they change their mind. Oh, this person doesn't like this. Oh, I have COVID. I don't want to. No, fuck that shit. I'm not here to guess. I'm here to make money. I want to look at a building and I want to say, if I do this, then I get this. Long term. Even if you want to flip it, I can say this. I know that I have these conditions. I know that I can do this. Avec le marché, il est capable de flipper comme ça. We've seen it. Ouais. Si demain, the Bank of Canada financier gets sick, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen, guys. Oh, speculation. Let's all stop what we're doing. Like, no. So that avec une maison aussi, qui a acheté la maison? Le propriétaire. Propriétaire. Est-ce que c'est, like, does he care what the last tenant was paying? No, he's gonna go live there. He's looking for a house for him to live in. And even if he's gonna buy a house, if it's $100 more, $100 less, it doesn't affect the value. Il change pas la valeur de la meuble. Ouais. Ça, c'est le problème avec le triplex aussi, parce que, yeah, you can, you know, these maths kind of make sense if you're trying to compare apples to apples, but really, who is the buyer of a triplex?
An owner must.
Usually, an owner, yeah, he wants to live in a unit, yeah. And that's what the bank is looking at too. They want to know, okay, why is it evaluated at this? Well, because investors are buying this, and investors care about fucking returns. But a triplex is different. Triplex, they're gonna talk about the color of the paint inside the apartment. I mean, dude, I bought my house without even seeing it. I bought my house in Florida, man. My triplex, yeah.
Because I think, well, what we're seeing is that the cap rate and it's determine how much the value is of the building. That's step one. Yeah.
There are things like I said, coverage ratio, amortization, you know, criteria on down payments, 5-year interest rate, those all things are gonna be provided by a mortgage broker. But those really do go into the value of the building. But for a quick glance, there's nothing better than cap rate.
The cap rate, you told us that's starting from 4% in the downtown area and the
It's less
where
than-
you already go higher.
Sure.
Do you have any tools or you just look at what all the buildings that were sold
Yeah,
and track the cap rate of the market?
correct. You're gonna have to do, let's say, a couple comparables. Well, for example, when you guys are gonna do a house, how do you guys do it? You look at comparables, square footage of the place, roughly a similar product. So yeah, you want to do the same thing. You want to look at a 14-plex in the same neighborhood that was, let's say, plus or minus the same year that it was built, plus or minus the same condition that it is right now.
And for buildings which have little to no comparable, are you just gonna go into further area and can I adjust yourself or is there kind of like a rule of thumb?
Rule of thumb is what I would
Stick to your numbers.
And I would still go off of, you know, everything is being compared to something else.
Hey,
So
Mike,
if
how you
I'm
doing?
buying a building. in-
I just sent you the
Buddy, you're on mute.
report to a couple of buildings that
You
had
talking to me?
offers on them already, conditional offers. You know, just to see, get an idea before going in.
Charles.
But my own director and owner of my banner is selling Kareem. I just got some.
Wow.
I love Charles.
I think it's-
He's like, hey, this fucking asshole right now is trying to tell me how to.
Sell my building.
We're gonna do a great deal, all right? No, Charles is a good guy. He's a good man.
So,
Yes.
Si on reprend par exemple l'exemple que vous avez 200 000 de rénovation,
Oui.
il y a plusieurs questions dans cette question. Sur combien de temps ça aurait pris rénover 14 unités pour les monter de 750?
C'est dans 24 heures, je vais mettre toute la rénovation, j'ai gagné, et je comprends.
Non, c'est ça, c'est sur combien de temps? Puis après, est-ce que ce montant-là qu'on a vu de différence, à peu près 700 000, toi, tu irais refinancer ça?
Ask me more specific question. So you're saying with how much time will it take for me to finish a renovation project?
Exact.
Ça dépend.
Une fois, ouais.
Ça dépend, et ça dépend de mes conditions. Donc,
Ça dépend des rénovations, ça dépend de.
my experience, I've always outpaced myself. So I've done two very major, I would call them refinancial flips. I didn't sell them, but we bought a building, we fixed it up, we re-rented it, we went back to the bank and refinanced, and we took our money out and moved on to another project. I'm on my second major project right now. My first project was in Crepin on Chateauguay. We had scheduled 2 years to renovate 10 units. Okay, we finished in 14 months. Okay. Maintenant, le projet.
Not a couple of weeks, takes a while.
It takes a while, though, because let me be even more clear. I don't even have the money to renovate the place when we buy it. So we gotta take a line of credit. We gotta take you know, and obviously we don't, it's a big difference if you're spending $200,000 today, or you're spending $15,000 this month, $15,000 next month, so on and so forth. It changes everything. So on Crepin, we finished in 14 months. And on Henry Bourassa, it is a 38 unit building, 2 commercial, 36 residential. Our timeline was supposed to be 5 years. We just finished year 2 like 2 days ago. And we finished 19 out of the 36 renovatable units. So we're over 55%, I think. Something like that. We're 55% of the project. We've done more than half of it already. And we're not at the halfway mark yet, so.
Are you making money off the movie in the meantime, or?
In the meantime, it is paying for itself. Yeah,
Which is good.
yeah, it's fine. Actually, technically, because we've advanced so quickly, we need more money. So because we have the same structure between the first building I told you about and this one, we have the same partners. The other building is starting to cash flow a little bit better, so we're using what's left over from there to cover the, you know, vacancies. Because remember, when I empty a unit, like I'm not emptying 1 unit, I'm emptying 10 units.
So you're losing.
So I'm
revenue.
losing $7,000 a month if they're $700 each.
Yeah.
Plus, I gotta come up with the 20,000, well, I don't know how much it is on this project off the top of my head, but we're also coming up with the money that we're renting.
renovate.
We're also gotta pay our agents that are gonna re-rent the place. You know, it becomes a cash flow game at that point, yeah.
I don't know if you have the answers, but
That's right.
where do you relocate? Do you have to relocate those tenants?
Well, it depends on what the reason, what is the reason that you're evicting somebody? I mean,
Let's say il y a une éviction, okay, fine.
je vais pas mettre une rénovation, so I don't kick anybody out of their house. I don't kick anybody out of their house that is respecting their commitments to me. I don't really care, like
You have to relocate.
No, not for, let's get, dans le temps tu acheter when you buy a building
Yeah.
that is messed up. Why is it messed up? It's messed up because stuff isn't fixed and people ain't paying.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you have to do?
Fix stuff and get people to pay.
Well,
Or get rid of the
they're already stopped paying, so let's start with that.
Let's get those out.
Okay, I wait till the
Right,
21st.
It's not easy to put people.
Well, look, that's why you hire people like me. I mean, it's not easy for everybody, but it becomes easier the more you do it.
No, but
Du logement.
if you don't pay, it's easy.
Si une
If
personne ne
they
paye
don't
pas,
pay, o dragit de logement.
Ça prend des mois et des mois.
3
ils
mois.
font appel,
3 mois, no, okay, let's go over management for quickly. Let's talk quickly about management.
And you can't
Who's
raise
management?
the rent just like that.
After they leave, you have to state, there's many rules that we're gonna have to talk about, but let's go over them. We got some.
Nothing is easy, doesn't matter.
Nothing is easy. Hey, guys, you know what's really not easy? Picking up the phone every day and trying to make a new customer.
It's not,
Yeah.
No, honestly, what you guys do is way harder. Like, you have to start over every fucking day, whether they're realistic or not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's not easy to do anything. It's not easy to dig a ditch, but I mean, everybody has their job. What? Yeah, yeah.
We'll all do it if we have to.
Well, yeah, that's it.
But
So-
dragit de logement, they improve lot of house. It's not
They
like
do.
before.
Well, let me go quickly, okay, so when do you guys think you have the authority to apply for non-payment at the Régie de Logement?
3 mois.
No,
We-
so as soon as they pay, they miss the first month. they get a
As soon
plan.
as they don't pay,
A
first
restaurant.
month.
Okay, great, so nobody knows, it's very clear.
First day.
On the second,
First day.
on the second, guys, on the second,
No,
you
but that's true.
you can open up a file at Dumper.
Yeah, you open the file.
You have the authority to open a file for something called non-payment, which means they did not pay me.
On the second
The
day.
second month.
On the second day.
Expenses.
Dumper. Are you guys gonna tell me or am I gonna tell you? On the second day, if their rent is due on the first.
Yeah.
At 12:01 the next morning, they are late. They have failed their contract. They have not fulfilled their commitment. Doesn't mean you can kick them out. Doesn't mean, all that means is you can open a case with the legal system saying this person has not paid me. And I would like to have a court hearing where you tell him that he has to pay me. Okay, now on the 21st of the month, after you've had 3 weeks of non-payment, you're now eligible for something called eviction. You can apply for evicting this person because they are more than 3 months behind on rent.
But how do we end up with 3 months? I'm
Sorry,
3 weeks.
3 weeks, forgive me.
Okay,
3 weeks, because they're 3 weeks,
no problem.
right? So what I do,
We'll take blood check. After 21 days, you're out.
there you go. No, you're not out, but you can apply for the.
You're about to be out.
What actually happens in real life? In real life, you don't know these rules. In real life, you try to help people. And in real life, people, they take advantage, but they also they will take as much as they can get, man. It's not always their fault, guys. By not putting limits on dates, you're letting them dig the hole that they can't get out of.
Yeah.
So by being strict, look, when we were opening them ourselves and we didn't use a law firm anymore, I was actually opening mine on the 10th and then sending a amendment to my dossier. So I would get another, 20 days in line before, because as soon as you apply, you're gonna have about 6 weeks before you're gonna receive a date. And that date will be about 2 weeks after. So you're gonna need about 2 months after opening the case. So yeah, if you open it up on the 21st, 2 months later, you're gonna be in front of a judge. 14 days later, you're gonna get a decision. And yeah, you'll have lost 3 or 4 months of rent.
They could leave during that time
Sure.
and not have to pay.
No, they will have to pay. They have a debt they have to pay. Now you're saying they won't pay it, correct?
Yeah.
But you have something called collection agencies, you have something called bad debt, you have losses. I understand that it's not gonna be great on cash flow, but what is my business? My business is renovating units that are empty.
So we'll get them out, we'll renovate and take a loss and.
We take a
get it
loss.
done. No problem. it's
And
fine.
you know what? Many times,
It's better.
It's better for you
It's
because
better.
it gives you, you could renovate right away, get somebody in right away, get more money out at the end.
sure, and I don't have to renovate 4 units at one time. I have to renovate the 3 that didn't pay this month.
Yeah, which is
And
good,
that spaces them out better for us.
for sure.
Now, another thing is, once we're getting towards
Cash
the end
flow
of
wise
the
also.
cash flow wise, the best,
Yeah.
because I don't want to do
You
it.
don't want
anymore.
40 units renovated in
Well,
the
look,
same month.
on this project on Henry Grossa, I've only advanced by like 6 months ahead of schedule. And we had to come up with 100 grand out of our pockets like this, just so that we can keep the project going,
Yeah.
because we're ahead of schedule.
Good.
So we need the money.
It's a good problem.
It's a good problem to have, and you learn from it, you figure it out, you give yourself more of a budget when you're gonna take on these projects. You inform your partners that maybe sometime during the project, we might
You
have to ask for another loan, or we won't go back to the investor and ask them for money again, but we'll say like, okay, it's gonna be slightly less profitable in this very short amount of time, because we've advanced on the
Makes
project.
sense.
Yeah, so just to go back to it, you open a case on the 21st. Let's say 3 months later, you're in front of a judge. 14 days later, you're gonna receive a judgment, and another 10 days after that, you can go and ask them to leave. Now, if they don't leave, you have to call the bailiff. It becomes even more and more complicated. But all this to say, that's
Still a lot. It's a lot to get somebody on.
it's a lot, but you know
They're
what?
very, very protective as a renter.
Well, let me ask you something. If your mother had just come here from Greece and she didn't know the language and she was living in somebody's building,
Yeah.
and the roof was leaking, and she stopped paying rent because of it. First of all, she's not allowed to do that, but I would not accept that this landlord comes to my mother's house and say, look, it's the first, but she goes, no, the roof wasn't done. Well, we have to have due process. We have to have a court system. We have to have a third party. It's not the best system. Maybe it takes too long. But at the same time, there's a reason it's like that. I mean,
There's some slumlords out there.
there's tons of slumlords out there. You kidding me? You know how many properties I took over that were just fucking coquerel everywhere? Cockroaches, bed bugs, nobody answers the phone anymore. Like, there needs to be a check and balance system. Unfortunately, the real problem is that owners don't open in time. They don't open their case. They wait until month 2. We'll be fine. It's been 2 months now. Okay, I'm gonna go to their, no, you know what? I'm gonna go tomorrow. They're closed. But okay, there you got 2.5 months now. Okay, well, now you have another 3, like the delay does not change. So that puts you at 5.5 months. If you've made a mistake, a clerical error on your dossier, if you didn't, you didn't serve them properly, you didn't follow the process of the court system, well, you can have another delay of 2-3 months. Well, okay, you can go to a year like this by making 2 errors. And I know, because I made them.
But in winter, you're not allowed to keep allowed.
Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So if they don't pay, yeah.
What about with people that pay the rent on time?
Well, God bless them. I'm happy to have them in my
But
fucking
You
house.
still need, you still as an investor want to raise your rent, you need to do renovations, what's the techniques you use?
So
So you don't, abuse people or.
I don't look, on every project, I mean, this is the second one I've had, major one, and each one of them, I've had an old lady that wanted to stay and she didn't want to pay more, she wanted the conditions the same. And she don't do anything in my house, leave it as is. And I say, okay, we're changing everything. We're gonna be aggressive on our increase. We're gonna charge you 3%. That's what I do for everybody. Everybody gets a 3% increase
Per year,
Yearly.
per year, yeah.
is that you're allowed to do no matter what.
No, you're not, you're allowed like 1%. But you send 3%,
Because
80% of them accept, 10% of them don't accept it. and
Is
move out.
that the regime now that has to fix that amount? Or that's a 1 point something?
If you go to court about it, then they have to fix the amount. But they have an amount that is allowed
Yeah,
and,
I think it can go up.
Because I thought they calculate now certain districts.
yeah, but
Je pense que c'est un bon montant. You have un fichier dépendamment de qu'est-ce que tu as fait comme rénovation.
mais tout ça, you can be like 0.07%, something, like, you can put all of the numbers in their analyzer.
Because I have tenants and, mais c'est un individu, c'est un autre problème.
There you go.
I can put.
But it's not 2% increase yearly?
There's actually no set fixed amount. There are many conditions that
I
make
thought the
this.
legal was 2%.
The legal amount is based on how much the change in municipal taxes, how much it was in school tax, how much renovations you did in that specific unit, how much you did on the gross building. I mean, this makes this look simple compared to the equation that it's like a 7-page
Yeah, so
fucking
it's
formula.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with these people. They're fine. They don't want any renovation. We're not gonna.
I send 3% across the board.
Okay.
And I mean, look, she's paying $600 and she now pays what, like $8 extra? How much is 6%? 608. So she pays another $8 a year, compounded. Okay, it's not the end of the world. We have 9 units. We've made our money. We've already got all our money out of the building. Like, I need to sleep at night too, guys. Like,
Yeah.
let me put it this way. It's not easy to evict somebody even when they have not paid the rent. And morally, it's not easy. Like, you want to sit in front of somebody crying? You want to watch somebody say, my husband beats me and I'm not able to pay the rent and he took off with the cash and I spent all, like, no, it's not fun. So, like, let's leave ourselves human where we can. On everything else, we gotta be tough, but on, look, I mean, an 80-year-old woman wants to stay in her house and pay $600 a month. I don't give a shit. Okay,
You know, she'll pay until time comes.
she'll pay until she doesn't pay and then we renovate the unit and we're done. And if she wants to stay there until she dies, let her stay. I mean, we got another building. Let's find
Have
something
one
else.
of those.
There's many times, by the way, when there's somebody that is paying on time, that is not a good person. That is either, they're bringing in a lot of stock, like they're orders, or they pick stuff off the street and you got cocktail everywhere, or they're like,
Pot, like weed.
yeah, sure. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I like drugs like everybody else, but
Is that what he said? He said I love drugs like everybody else.
Like everybody else, yeah.
I said pot. So, but no, guys, there are some times where you go like, look, man, I'm gonna give you $8,000 to leave right now.
Cash for keys.
Cash your keys.
That's
That's okay. It didn't work in the beginning, but you try again, you make it more interesting. Hey, look, I found you another apartment. Here's all the listings that I produced for you. You gotta, I'll help you. Not only am I gonna pay you $8,000, here's 3-4 listings you should go check out. And I'm gonna pay for the guy to move you. We've just seen what this kind of, what this will do to the value of the
What
building.
value you have?
So you gotta get your ego out of the way a lot of the time.
Let's say like, for example, you got a new tenant.
Yeah.
that Normally you said like, okay, you don't smoke.
Yeah.
And then you realize that he is a smoker.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I would tell him he should call
Sit down.
his doctor. Is it causing problems to the building?
Yeah, let's say.
Okay, well, then I gotta ask myself the question of, do I want to go through the process of evicting this person? Or creating a dossier for them and going to court? Or do I want to just suck it up and accept it? Now, if it's bothering other tenants, I have no choice. I have to go against him. I have to take him to court. I have to make an agreement with him. Look, man, I don't want to go to court. You've lied. I don't want to go to court. We don't want to add more cost to this. How about I break your lease in 3 months? You go your way, I go my way. There's many different ways to figure it out, but you try to figure it out amicably because court has fees and your time is important. All right, keep going, come on, one more.
You said, what are the renovations does not, make sense for the building value? You did not-
Make sense?
The capital expenditure.
What do you mean by, hold on.
You just brought up the question in the beginning, so what are the renovations does not make sense?
What are the renovations that don't benefit?
Do not, yeah, do not.
Are there any
add value
renovations
to
that
the
increase the
building.
value?
Yeah, like the
Well,
roof, all
that's
the
where
windows.
your artistic interpretation is up there, like, if I paint the place orange, can I get another $5? Maybe I can, maybe I can't, it's up to you, it's up to your salesmanship. It's all about how much money you can bring in, but there are certain things that I know will make the place look nicer. Obviously, having a clean paint job will
My
be
question means
beneficial.
like, out of the 210,000 that you invest for renovations,
Yeah.
are there anything in there that will add to the 730,000?
There is nothing intrinsically in that $210,000 that changes anything. There's nothing in that there's nothing specifically in that $210,000 that makes any change in value. The concept has to be a little more theoretical at that point, because I'm investing 15,000 per unit because I think it will look at a certain condition where I can rent it for $1,000. That's really what's important. I mean, really,
Yeah, that's.
I don't have to put anything in there to get it at $1,000 if it's so under rented. Maybe I can just clean it up. This is
That's the investment, is gonna bring more rents, that's what.
yeah, whatever you can do to bring in more rents, that's what it's about. Anybody online? All right, I've gone over time. Hold on, let me check the questions quickly. I hate you, you're rap. Oh, sorry, merci. All right, cool. Have a good one, guys, and
Another one is coming soon.
sure. They're fun, huh?
You went on,
We're gonna pass shots around next time. Thank you, guys. Up here? Hey, buddy, you might.
First, I want to ask,
Yeah.
how did you get the 3.5, 4.5, 2.5?